Yo guys, Paunchy here, and today I wanted to show you how to sample into your Analog Rytm as well as layer those sounds with some of the synth sounds from the rhythm. So let's get started. I have a little pocket operator here hooked up to my rhythm. The place that you sample is up here where it says direct. A few things here. I've shown you guys before. If you're interested in knowing in depth what all of this is, then go ahead and check out my sampling video from before. So I'm just going to kind of go through this a little quicker. So I have my sounds here on the pocket operator. They're pretty quiet. So I'm going to go ahead and just sample a few of these sounds into the rhythm, and then we'll go from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my threshold here, and then I want to arm it. Okay. Okay, it's going to normalize those for me. And now I'm going to go ahead and trim them. So the first one was a kick. Okay, so I'm going to trim the kick there. And you can preview it here. Okay, go ahead and trim that, save it. I'll just name it PO kick. Okay, assign it to track. I'm going to go ahead and assign it to the usual bass drum track. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and trim the next one. Okay. Okay, let's trim that. Oh, I do kind of want to make sure I get rid of that silence up there a little bit, so I'm going to make sure I zoom in. Okay, there we go. That should be better. Yep. Okay, save. Let's save it as PO snare. Boom. Okay, assign it to that pad. Now I want to go for the hi-hat one. As you can see, there's a lot of zooming in and out here to make sure that you trim properly. It's definitely good practice, especially if you're going to be sending these samples to anyone else. Okay. Boom. Okay, let's save that. PO snare. I mean PO hat. Okay. Then I'll assign that up here. Of course, you can assign them wherever you want. That's just kind of where I assign them. I tend to follow the usual rhythm convention just to make things easier on myself. So, okay. Now the final one, just to keep this a bit quicker, I'm gonna sample this or trim this open hi-hat. PO open hat. Probably should have named the last one closed hat, but you know, whatever works for you and whatever is good, as long as everyone understands what's going on as far as the names go. Okay, I'll sign that one there. Boom, we're done. As you may have noticed, the great thing about the rhythm is you can just sample a bunch of sounds all on one track, and then you can just trim them individually and save them individually. So Okay, so interestingly here, you'll notice that they're kind of quiet for one. So let's check this hi-hat first. The open hat is obviously way louder, so I'm gonna turn that one down. Right now, I'm just trying to kind of level these out a little bit. Okay, not too shabby, you know, but I think we can definitely spice these up a little bit by layering in some of the synth sounds. So with the hi-hat here, you know, it's got a good click to it, but it's pretty, it's just quiet. It's not thick enough for me. So what we're gonna do is go over here to the source menu. Let's add in a little bit of the synth hat. Okay, so here's what it sounds like without it. Here's what it sounds like with the synth. Okay, it might be a little bit loud. So what we can do here, you know, there's multiple ways to look at this. You can either turn it down from the source menu here, or of course you can use the actual track level. You know, I tend to get the levels right here on the source and the sample menu, but and then that way the track level is like the final level for me. So that's just how I work. So that sounds pretty good. So let's do the open hat. That one just sounds really metallic to me. I think we can also spice this up a little with the synth here. So let's turn this up and see how that sounds. And keep in mind, like, a lot of this stuff is just to taste. You know, maybe a little bit of what I'm doing sound-wise might not be the exact flavor you're going for, and that's totally fine. But that's why ultimately I always encourage people to just use their ears. You know, especially in this first part here, I'm just turning the level up and using my ears to see where I want to set the level. And then if I don't like the sound from there, then I can change the tuning or the noise color. So let's just turn it up. Already my first impression is I can hear the decay of the synth is a little bit longer than the decay of the one on from the pocket operator. So we might need to adjust the decay a little bit. So let's see. There, now they're a little more even. If we turn the synth up all the way, that's not a terrible sound. But you can tell that you can immediately tell that it's like a multifaceted, like multi-dimensional kind of sound. Because of course, it's essentially there's two sounds playing at the same time. Let's mess with the tuning a little bit. I think if we tune it down a little bit, the synth sound, the open hat synth sound tends to well, not tends to, but in this case, it sounds a little more even with the pocket operator sound. Let's mess with the color a little bit. Okay, I think I'm going to try and turn this down a little bit in general because, again, they're both, the open hat is louder than the closed hat that we sampled, but I do want the synth sound a little bit louder than the sample sound in this case. So that's the only thing I would keep track of, is the ratio between the sample sound and the synth sound. Okay, not too shabby. Now let's move on to the kick. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn up the synth kick and see how that sounds. Now I do, in this case, what we've been doing is I do want the sample to be more of the prominent sound that you hear, and then just to use the synth as kind of an augmentation, if you will, or just kind of a way to enhance the sound rather than like completely overtake the sound, because at that point, you know, what's the point of having sampled in the first place? You know, you're not, at that point, you're not preserving the character of the sounds that we sampled. So I for sure want the sample sound to be a higher level. So. Can kind of mess with the waveform here a little bit. I like adding a little bit of that snap in there. So this is what it sounds like without it. Here's what it sounds like with it. Okay, now let's move on to the snare. I do like the sound of the snare, but I want it to be a little bit thicker. Now I think with both of those up all the way, I think that sounds pretty good. So the best thing to do from here is to go ahead and save this kit. I'm just gonna save it over here. I'm just gonna save it PO for simplicity's sake. For pocket operator, of course. Bam. So if we can just do a quick 4 on the floor here. turn these down a little bit. And there you go. You have a not too shabby sample kit. I know we only did 4 sounds. You know, of course, with a pocket operator, there's way more sounds, and we can totally make a whole kit out of a pocket operator's sounds. But just to keep this video a little bit shorter, I wanted to do that for you guys, at least 4 sounds. So hope that helps you guys. If you have any other questions, leave a comment down below, and feel free to subscribe if you got any value out of this video, and I will see you in the next one.